Hello, YouTubers. This is Trainman122. So, I'm going to cut right to the chase. For those of you who have been on my channel before, who have seen my videos before, whom have been following me all this time. So, at first, I'd like to thank you very much for sticking around, for coming back. But basically, the long story short for why I've been away for so long. At some point in time, I believe it was back in 2015, I started feeling that the video editing process was getting kind of tedious. I had set up a kind of level of quality that was very hard to continue with the text that I was putting on the screen, the amount of changes I had to do to every single piece of text, all the research I had to do on all the trains that I saw. And in some cases my videos would have as many as 30 trains, which caused quite the bit of long video editing that I sometimes needed to do. Now, I'm still alive, I still love trains, and it just got tedious. Then I went off to railroad school, became a certified freight conductor at most. And then I came back home and got an office job. So I work now, and this basically means I don't have as much time as I like doing the things I want to do. I want to play games. I want to spend time with friends. And on occasions, I want to watch trains. I have plenty of games and simulators to help me out with that, obviously. With this one being Train Sim World CSX Heavy Haul, and that's been a lot of fun. But to put the long story short, as I was trying to make it short, I don't know. I stopped. Then one day I was playing Train Sim World on the Great Western Express expansion, and I had a nice little bit of fun on that one. That one's the last one I uploaded on my channel. Go see it if you care to. I don't really care if you do or not. It's just a neat little thing. But then at that point I decided, what if I kind of did this instead? Now, a couple of people came onto that video and went into the comment section to let me know that they miss me, they haven't seen me in a long time and want me to continue making videos again, and I've been getting that every so often through various other comment sections, and so maybe this will be the way to do it. In any case, this is what might be called a Let's Play. I don't know very much about that definition in any case, but my thought was perhaps to just do things train related in the digital computer media, that is, that might be suggested to me or requested, and to do them, to record them. For the simple matter of maybe there's somebody out there who wants to do stuff in this simulator but does not have the money nor the components to do it. Now, mind you, this game simulator is very high in graphical detail, graphical quality, and everything. It's a super realistic game. I have everything set to ultra settings, as high as it can possibly go. I get a little bit of frame rate drop, maybe it's just a little bit of choppiness. I can't tell you if that's the game having an issue or if that's my computer having the issue. As of right now, the game has a lot of bugs. I say a lot. They're probably more like little things. One of them less little, but I'll get to that later. Maybe you don't have the ability to play this simulator, be it by cost or by the amount of technology you need to have to do this. As of right now, my computer is running this on an NVIDIA GTX 970, recording off of that same graphics card. And the entire computer cost me $1,400. You can see where money really comes into play for this. Or maybe you have the money and you just haven't gotten around to putting together a computer that can do this, or purchasing one. Whatever it may be. I figure maybe I should start up a series where I do these sort of Let's Play things. Maybe not with big flashy intros, maybe not with face cams, not with over-exaggerated emphasis on emotion, screaming about the next big thing. Just doing stuff in train-related games and simulations, and maybe tossing a joke in there every once in a while to make you laugh. If it's interesting, watch it. If you don't care, go away. I don't care. Anyway, CSX Heavy Haul, Cumberland Yard in Ohio. I'm sorry, scratch that, Maryland. I'm sorry, Maryland. This, before me, is the GPE 38-2. Right there. And it is a 2,000 horsepower general purpose locomotive. The reasoning as to why I've decided to start here is because today I want to cold start locomotives and have you fine people enjoy the sound that they make when they start up, or see how the simulator goes about moving these massive machines over short distance anyway. I'm not really going to go very far with them, but I'm going to at least do stuff. So bear with me here. You know, stick with the whole video. If the whole video turns out to not be satisfying to you, go ahead and do with it what you will. But if you are into this sort of thing, please leave me a suggestion. Something else to do next. I have other games such as Gary's Mods, where me and my friends make many trains and train-related paraphernalia. I also have Train Sim 2017. Not really a big fan of that one, but I have it. But I don't have much for it. And then there's another game, not very well known, I apologize, Simulator. The developers are very adamant about it being called a simulator, much like how this one is called a train simulator. And I keep calling it a game. People get offended by this, you know, apparently. Run 8 Train Simulator is the other one. I own everything for that one because I thoroughly enjoy that one. It is a simulator run by 3 guys. And they basically have coded into a system how to run a train. It's much like this. Not as flashy. If any of you have played Microsoft Train Simulator, you would know basically what Run 8 looks like. It's pretty much the Microsoft Train Simulator 2 that never happened, but created by 3 guys and set in California, Florida, and I believe the Northeast, like Rochester area, and Schenectady. I can play that. I most certainly can. But I really only want to if people request it. So I want to know what you're interested in. I hope it's trains. Trains are kind of my thing. Alright. So, to get back down to the nitty-gritty here. I own this locomotive now, apparently. So, according to the game files and everything, once you sit in the seat, it becomes your locomotive, and you can then do more things with it. Otherwise, it might be a little bit iffy. Sometimes it has glitches. Sometimes it doesn't do things right if you don't sit down in the seat first. I know, it's weird. So, on to the show. Now that I have all out of that way. This is the EMD motor. This is the main prime mover. It's basically just a multiple cylinder engine that sucks in diesel fuel, explodes the diesel fuel, which then pumps the pistons, which then turns the crankshaft that's in there somewhere. It's probably that big one right there on the floor. That's my guess. Then it turns a magnet, a special magnet, inside of an electrical generator. Generates electricity, funnels that electricity into the traction motors, which are attached to the axles of this locomotive. And it causes those to turn with great force. And in turn causes the wheels to turn. That is the basic way on how these things move. It's literally just magnets pushing against each other. Electrical forces just pushing a wheel into movement. It's crazy how simplified this is, but unbelievably complicated on how to do it. Luckily, it's not complicated starting one up. See this little toggle switch here? Little black sliver. You turn it to the left, primes the locomotive. It feeds the engine diesel fuel into the cylinders for later explosion and getting it running. Turning it to the right starts it. You have to prime it first. So prime for 4 to 5 seconds, and then the locomotive will start. So I'm going to do that right now, and I'm just going to be quiet, and I'm going to let you guys listen. So here goes. I apologize, that was a false start. It seems as though my mouse has decided to go crazy for a second. I'm going to fix that. Here we go. One more time. What in the world happened? This game has its technical faults. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and fix that. Give me 10 seconds. So, when I tried to start, when my mouse freaked out, tried starting the locomotive before it was primed, it caused a bit of a glitch to where when I finally did start it the proper way, the sound did not work properly. So I've turned it off. I'm going to restart the process and hope that the sound will work properly this time. Here we go. Really? Again? Okay. I'll try doing it this way. Right-clicking gives me just the mouse. It stops moving the camera, so hopefully this will work out a little better. Alright, now that it is fully started up, I can tell you everything is isolated, so it's not attached to any important bits. This piece right here, called the governor, it's not the governor you're thinking of, not politics, no. This lever, once everything is isolated and the engine is turned on, will allow you to throttle the engine right from here. So I can turn this to notch 8 without being inside the cabin. Here we go. There we go. Look at that, about 15 minutes in and I've only started one locomotive. Isn't that magical? I apologize if this runs a bit long. Stick with me here, please. Alright. We'll get to this in a second. First, I need to look at something here. Yeah, turntable's not set properly. So, let's show off the turntable. It's pretty basic. I say basic. It's not basic at all inside. I'm sure there's lots of gears that have to work properly, a motor that has to work properly, electricity, all that stuff that I know absolutely nothing about. However, it boils down to 3 basic buttons. There's an autodeck train going by. Huh. It boils down to 3 basic operations. This little TV here is my camera. As of right now, it's looking that way. In fact, I'll even show you where the camera is. It's right there. And there's one right here facing the other direction. And now I'd like to point out that the camera angle shown on the TV is actually not the position where the cameras actually are. From that position right there, it would actually be more like standing right here. I don't really know why they would have done that, considering the camera's all the way up there now. You know what? Whatever. They did it. It's a nice little tidbit of information there. I think it's cool. Let's work with it. As of right now, this little button right here is red. That means turntable's locked into place, and I'm not going anywhere. And you may also notice this light, big light. It's green. This light is for engineers and other personnel outside of the turntable house, determining whether or not they are able to enter the turntable. So as of right now, yes, someone can enter the turntable. They can pull a locomotive onto the turntable. It's safe to do so. But I come in here, I turn it off, I unlock the turntable, meaning it can now spin when activated. It's red, meaning do not come onto the turntable, it is unlocked. Simple enough. It's green in here because that's saying you are now good to spin the turntable. So let's go ahead and do that. I need to move to the left 2 tracks. Let's do that. There you go. I'm gonna, yeah, there's the other view. We can ignore that. Turn the camera off. Lock the turntable. Yep, green. And now I get back into the locomotive, undo all the braking, make sure everything's set into run properly, and then I'm going to pull it forward onto the turntables for your entertainment. Or actually, I'll probably just put it in between those 2 locomotives over there. Yeah, it seems nice enough. Okay. Set. No. Start over here. These 3 switches are very, very important. You set the engine to run. Turn on the generator field. This is basically the bar that will connect to the massive electrical generator that generates the power. This, flipping it on, connects it properly. So now we are in motion. That's all set. That's all set. Headlight bright. Rear light dim. That is a process in which you can tell if the locomotive is going forward or backwards. If you're staring at a bright light, it's coming towards you. If you're staring at a dim light, it's going away from you. That is the typical setup. Then we set the switch to run. That's that. Start up that switch. Let me go ahead. Well, first, yep, air's perfectly fine. My brake cylinders have applied. So now I'm going to come out here. I'm going to take off the handbrake. And we have release. There we go. Get back in the seat. Forward. Train brake released. Independent brake can release as well, but first we announce that we are moving. 2 shakes of the horn handle for forward movement. And a bell. For show. We don't need that much power. You saw it was only notch 1, but with the locomotive by itself, it gets going. It has acceleration. Not many people know that. So we're just under 4 miles an hour. We want to crawl onto the turntable. Can't go off the other end. There's no more tracks on the other end. Don't worry. We're not in any hurry. Nice and easy. So about when your nose reaches the halfway point, start applying a little bit independent, and you'll be nice and on the turntable. Turn off the bell because it's annoying. Fully apply the independent brake. Throttle in neutral. Get back out. I don't know if this is actually a part of the process in real life, but I like to apply the handbrake again, just in case. You get off the locomotive. Well, you know what? Suppose I'm leaving the locomotive by itself. I do suppose setting the handbrake is the best course of action for that. Alright, so now I'm putting it in between these 2 guys. See where that switch stand is right there? I'm putting it on that track. It's kind of hard to tell where that track is from here. So that's where the camera comes in handy. Camera on. Turntable unlocked. And we are moving the handle to the right. That signifies turntable to the right. That little white box is telling you this is that end. This is the front end, I guess. That's the end we're supposed to look at. I don't know. Right. And you have to hold it. Hold it until it lines up. If you let go too soon, it'll line up with a different track. Oh, okay. The, yeah, uh-huh. That was the, that was the big, work building just kind of disappearing, if you saw that. I can't stress enough that this simulation has its glitches here and there, and, turn that off. I assume they're going to be fixing all of this eventually. This is a lot better than when it was released, but it still has its problems. You live with it. Any case, let's get back on the locomotive, and I'm just going to put it on top of the switch there. Just for aesthetic reasons, or looks. I just think it'll look nice if I line up all these locomotives that are in a row. So I sit back down. Then I get back up because I forgot about the handbrake. There we go, it's released. Then I close the door and I sit back down. All that's still going, all that's still going. We set the rear headlight to bright, front headlight to dim. Release the brakes fully. 3 honks for backup. And bell for backup. Reverse. There we go. Turn off the throttle. Again, we don't need that much. And in fact, we're probably going a little too fast. A little bit of brake. A lot of bit of brake. And we're good enough. Bell go off. Thank you. 1 honk for stop. Probably should have done that when I was on the turntable. Neutral. Lights go off. Engine off. Fuel pump off. Generator field off. stand up, be accounted for, start, stop, isolate. Then to turn off the locomotive, you press the big red shiny button. Normally you're told not to. In this case, well actually in real life, in most cases anyway, the railroad would prefer leaving the engine running. It helps them make sure that the locomotive will be all set for the next operation, which will probably be very soon. These beasts are usually kept running at all times. It's a very demanding job, but these are very demanding locomotives. Here we have the SD40-2. It's very similar to the GP38 in looks. It's a bit longer, has the same flared out vent as that guy, just more stretched out, a little bit thinner. That's basically the dynamic braking. We'll get to that maybe another day. I don't know. You know, just a bit longer, bigger engine, more horsepower. This one's boasting a nice easy 3 grand. Or was it 4? I'm always wrong anyway. Then we prime and start. That is my fault. I did not sit down in the seat. That's one of the many things I told you about. Sitting down in the seat, it's now mine. And you can hear the engine did a weird rumbly thing. I don't know why it did that. It just signified that it's mine now. And that is that. Always shut your doors. Unless you're CSX. Leave everything open. Deny everything. Let's go ahead and... Well, first... Air brakes are fine. They're all charged. Go ahead and release the handbrake. You can see on this one it's a big wheel, whereas the other one was a crank style. That's because GP38s are old. And I mean old. SD40-2s are old as well, but they're slightly newer. And they get a lot of electrical upgrades, and they're just like, they keep going. Like, I don't know if railroads are ever going to get rid of them. Ever. Let's go ahead and set this to run. Sit in the seat. Set that to run. Generator field on. And fuel pump on. There. Now all that is set up. The engine is all set. We release the train brake. The independent brake is for the locomotive only. We'll leave that for now. I'm just going to pull it up a little bit so that we can try and match it with the nose of the Jeep. Maybe it will look nice. So, forward. That's normal. You set it to forward or reverse, you will, when it's in neutral, it's idle. When you set it to forward, it technically goes into notch 1, but does not move. I don't quite understand the reasoning behind that, but you do hear the engine throttle up. But it's not moving. We're not going to go anywhere. And I could probably release the brakes and everything. This locomotive will be sitting still until I move the throttle. The idling turning into a notch 1 sound effect is normal. Let's go ahead and honk the horn twice for forward movement. We'll leave the bell on, and then fully release. And then a little bit of throttle power. You be careful with this one. It can easily get away from you. Very, very strong locomotive. And fully application on the independent. There we go. And now we turn everything off. Neutral. I didn't turn on the lights this time. I'm very sorry. Let's go ahead and off. That's good, that's good. Set this to start, stop, isolate. Then push the button. We will now apply the handbrake and shut the door and get off. It ain't bad. It's pretty hard to line things up when they're at angles and not all the same. I lined up with the Jeep just fine, but maybe the AC44 is not quite lined up. Anyway, time for the big guy. 4,400 horsepower, as it states in its name, 44. AC 4400 CW. The C, I believe, stood for the kind of truck that it uses. It's a C-type. The W stands for wide cab. As you can see, it's wider than a standard cab. AC stands for alternating current. This one used alternating current and AC traction motor as opposed to a DC traction motor. It was new for its time, and it turns out to be quite more powerful. It has sort of an unlimited output kind of a thing that's good for climbing mountains. And in this case, these things were literally meant to just drag coal everywhere. They are very, very lucrative for that kind of business. I love the interior. Maybe it's just because it's different, but I think it's all just very neat, very put together. You got your two MFD screens. I don't remember what MFD stands for, so don't. You can look it up. Anyway, we got the lights. We got the, the little knobs and switches. That's actually the air conditioner and heating. That is the engine run, generator field, control switch. That's the 3 switches we had on that one that were on the control stand but are now down there. The radio's working. And then we have the control stand itself, the desk. Let's go ahead and sit down since I need to do that anyway. The bad thing. The startup is really boring. You come over here, you twiddle all these knobs into place. In this case, it's already set up for me. Start. The headlight setting is always single or middle if it's by itself or in a consist. Then you push a start button. You don't get to be near the locomotive with all the action is. But let's go ahead and do this and just have a listen. If you look carefully above the blue area here, you'll see some smoke when it starts up. I'll try and highlight that as best I can. And there you have it. If you're wondering about that big red button, the AC44CWs actually have a horn sequence button. That's, well, basically you stop stomp your foot on that. What that is, it automatically does a crossing sequence. It doesn't really calculate how far you are from the crossing, but when you push it, the horn will sound a long, long, short, long. And I believe it works in game. That's a yes. Although I find it kind of funny because when you're sitting in the seat, you can't reach it. There's... what's this? What? Okay. Apparently I can reach through the desk and hit it. That's odd. Okay, so out of everything, I believe this cabin to be the best. I like how the cabin looks. It's very spacious. I get a lot of viewing area. I can see for miles. And I have the most protection. I have the most horsepower. It's a very powerful locomotive. And it comes with a mini fridge. And a toilet. We don't speak about the toilet. And then, of course, you just hit engine stop. The screens themselves are a whole nother story. They do a lot of things, but you hit the left arrow button when you're sitting in the seat, and then you right click to get your mouse. And then in coordination with these blue squares you can see here, you can see, let's go with speed control. In coordination, F5. Slow speed control, hump control, exit, train line speed, hump control, speed control, all that fun stuff. You just push it in coordination with everything. Menu doesn't work. 0 works. 9 works. There is no help. Nothing helped you. Nothing. Dimmer doesn't work. So not all buttons do everything, but a good majority of the important ones do. Unless, you know, the screen's too bright, then you're... well, there's nothing that can be done for you. Torpedoes and fuses. Can't do anything there, but they're not the torpedoes you think of. They're actually like little plastic tubes of gunpowder or air that are placed on the rail so that when they're run over, they make a loud bang. Doesn't hurt anything, but it makes a loud noise. That loud noise alerts the engineer that something's up, he needs to stop or slow down. And that's that. Oh no, there's an intermodal train over there. Yeah, okay. So, yep. Let's get down. Yeah, that's the other thing about the AC-44. It has a problem with people getting on and off of it at certain points. It lags. I don't know why it does this, but it just does it. But in the case of a scenario, you don't get on and off of an AC-44 very often. So it's not really game breaking. It just kind of happens. You know, if you start off a scenario inside the AC-44, it's more than likely you're going to be in it for the long haul for at least 4 hours or more. But that does that. Yep. That's a nice screenshot there. So, shoot me some information, shoot me some interesting ideas that you want to see later. I'd be more than happy to do a few things. You want me to run a train? I'll run a train. You want me to do something stupid with a train? I'll do something stupid with a train. Just give me a little suggestion. And for those of you who might be coming in late to this video upload, the suggestion has a timeout. I'd say it's the beginning of 2018, January 1st, 2018. So, as of right now, I plan on releasing this video on September 30th, 2017. If it's beyond that point, just be very mindful of what exactly day and year it is, because I might not be doing the request thing anymore. I did request videos in the past, and nobody requested anything at all. Nobody. And then, I don't know, maybe a year later, I'll stop it. Maybe a year later, I started getting requests and things way after I'd already stopped doing it. It got very annoying. But you know, one gets over it, one goes around it, in it, over and through it. So, good way to end off the video. Let's do something stupid. Maybe a little bit of a treat for you guys that are sitting through the whole video. See those two AC-44s over there? I'm gonna just take them and full throttle. Don't know what's gonna happen. I really don't. But let's find out. Well, good news is they're already started for me. If we're going to do something stupid, I'm going to do it stupidly professional. So, up, 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 up. Mine. Scheduled service, 1657. Well, that's in 24 hour. So 1657 is actually 4:57 in the afternoon. As of right now, I had the scenario set up for noon. This video has currently been running 42 minutes, thereabouts. So let's go ahead and just get this over with. The locomotive has already been started, as we suggested. It's already in run. It is all set up there. Now let's see if the switches have been toggled. They have. I'm just gonna go ahead and turn that on. Up position is always on. I set this scenario for summer. Yeah, that sounds about right. Alright. Don't do this at home, kids. Yep. Game almost didn't like that. But come on. Come on, stay with us. Stay with us. Just need to make it through the town. When I make it through the town, we'll be done. By the way, that mirror right there actually is reflecting. That's something not very many simulations do. Heck, even Grand Theft Auto 5, I play that game, by the way, doesn't have reflections. Can you believe that? The game has everything, but it doesn't reflect. Well, this game does. If you live here, I deeply apologize. Yep. Oh, red signals. Yep, red signals pretty much kill the game. So, I hope this was all very enjoyable for you. And, oh yeah, I have that as well, as you mostly know. And, so, if you have any suggestions for me, something fun to do, something stupid to do, something educational, if you want me to teach you how to do something, I'd be more than happy to do so. YN2...